Hey everybody, it's Crystal, and I'm signing in today to do the answers to your questions that you left me on my vlog. So I did that about a week ago, and so I'm just now getting around to it. So I wanted to say thank you to everybody that left questions on my video and for watching my vlog. I really appreciate it, and all your questions were really great. So I'm going to go ahead and just get started because I really have already made this video like 3 times, and every time it's super long and I get too distracted and too wordy and blah blah blah. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. So I took some notes, that way I don't continue to get distracted and all of that stuff. So my first questions come from working on a miracle, and I will post everybody who left questions. Obviously, you can see them in my comments on the other blog, but I will post their links on the bottom of my blog or vlog, so you guys will have them. And if you don't know who they are, then you can go check them out. So first off, here we go. Working on a Miracle asks, she has 3 questions. How many children do you want? Are we planning on freezing embryos when we do IVF? And what was hubby's reaction when he found out that we were going to get some help with IVF? And in an ideal world, I would love to have 3 kids. I don't know why that number sticks out to me, but I would love, love, love to have 3 kids. But in a infertile world, I would love to just have 1. So I'm definitely excited and hopeful to have 1 child. And if we do get 1 child, I'm going to be done. We're done. I know that we won't plan on doing any other sort of stuff in the future to have another child if we are blessed with just 1. So, her next question again was, are we planning on freezing embryos when we do IVF? And that is a big yes. And one of the main reasons for us is because of my risk of miscarriage. If my body is able to make enough eggs and we are able to fertilize them and have frozen embryos, then we will save them just in case I either miscarry or if the IVF doesn't work. Because if the fresh cycle doesn't work, then we have 1 more chance left with our IVF prep package that we're hopefully going to try to do. This particular one is a fresh IVF cycle and then 1 frozen cycle. So technically it's 2 shots, but so yeah, we would save eggs for that. We have not really discussed what we would do, say we do get pregnant and, we don't want to have any more children and we still have some eggs left over. I have no idea what we'll do at that point. We haven't really talked about it, so I'm not really sure on that. So when I do know more, I will let you all know. And then her other question, of course, was what was hubby's reaction when he found out that we were going to be able to do it? And he was really excited. I can tell that he was excited. I mean, he wasn't like jumping up and down like me and shedding tears of pure joy. But he was happy. I could tell by the smile on his face. And I think also just a sense of relief knowing that, IVF is so expensive. And so, I mean, anyways, I just think that he felt a sense of relief and happiness. So I can tell that he is excited to do it. We're excited to do it together. It'll be another journey in our life. So, okay, so the next question comes from Truthkeeper12321. Hi. Have you ever seen a ghost or had something supernatural happen to you? And that is kind of a yes. And some people are going to think I'm crazy, think I'm off my rocker, whatever. I don't care. But when I was younger, my grandfather died. My grandparents raised me when I was a kid, and my grandpa died of cancer at home. We had hospice and everything like that. And so I guess when I was like 10 or 11, no, probably 10, like 9 to 10, right after he had died. It was 10. Yeah, it was 10. Right after he had passed away. Sorry, I have an eye gunk in my eye. Had something in my eye. Okay, so this is why all my other videos were super long, because I just can't stay on topic. Okay, so okay, when I was younger, after my grandpa died, there were 3 occasions where I felt like he visited me or came to me or something. Because the first time was I don't know if it was days after he passed away or weeks. I know that it wasn't months. It was probably weeks. But I was laying in bed and I was tossing and turning and having a very difficult time going to sleep. And I felt like my grandfather came and sat on the bed next to me, like, you know, like your parents would come and sit on the bed or something. It felt like he sat next to me and put his hand on my back and rubbed my back until I fell asleep. And I know that it wasn't my grandmother. I asked my grandmother the next day, you know, did you come into my room last night? She didn't. But I had this overwhelming sensation that it was him. And I know that it very well could have just been my brain, you know, like giving me these sensations, you know, as a child to let me know that everything was going to be okay. But to me, it was real as anything. And then there was another time that I thought I saw him. My grandmother and I were at the grocery store, and I had to go down a couple aisles to get something, and then, you know, like when you're on your way back and you're looking for someone specific and you're kind of walking quickly, I'm like looking, you know, down the aisles real quick, and I look down the aisle as I'm walking, and I swear to God, I see my grandpa standing there in this shirt, like this 1970s shirt that he used to always wear. It had this like stripe right in the middle. It was like maroon and like coffee tan cream or something. But I saw him. I mean, I know that I saw him, and he was smiling at me. And of course, as I, you know, passed the aisle and I saw him for that split second, I stopped dead in my tracks and I looked back, and, you know, there was nothing there. And then the last time that I remember feeling like I saw him was walking to school. And this is probably like a year after my grandpa had passed away, because we moved. I remember we moved to an apartment complex, and I was walking to school. And on this particular day I was walking to school, it felt, I looked over and there was like this 1980s Buick going down the street, which that was like the car that we had, and there I see a person who I think is my grandpa in that same shirt that I saw in the grocery store. And it's like one shirt, I guess, that I just remember seeing him in a lot when I was a kid, so that's what my brain pulls out. But yeah, so I'm walking to school and I see this person drive by and look at me like, just smiling, like I think it was just a reassurance. And again, I'm sure it was my brain like pulling out all the tricks. But either way, it gave me a great deal of comfort when I was younger. And so, but to me, that was something supernatural, or I don't want to say he was a ghost, but the energy that he left behind in this world, I definitely felt it. And I think that's really awesome that I got a chance to do that. Okay, so moving on to the next question, I have, sorry, I'm looking at the time. Okay, so next question is from Lisa Marie TTC. And she has 3 questions for me. Her first one is, what would be your dream profession? All right, so I've definitely thought about this one, and it's not really a profession, but it kind of is. Okay, so this is totally probably not what people would expect from me, and that's fine. If I could do anything in the world, I would want to live on land, and I would want to raise animals, chickens and cows, and I would want to plant food in the ground and tend to it and grow it. And in my free time, when I'm not tending to my animals and my land, I would want to be an artist, like paint. But I feel like where I live now in the city of being so busy, working 8 hours at least every single day, rushing around doing everything, I do not feel like I'm living in my element to be a true artist. I am an artist. I am. I can draw. I can paint. I'm very creative. I know that I have it in me, but where I live, I just don't feel like I have access to that part of myself. And so I feel that if I had a completely different lifestyle, and I don't know, that's the kind of life that I would want to live. You know, I'm not really interested in making super huge amounts of money in life. Money is great, but money to me isn't happiness. I mean, of course it pays my fucking bills and all of that stuff, and you have to have money sometimes to go have fun, and that's totally fine, but my dream profession would be a job where I could do something that I truly liked to do, and it wasn't dependent on money or anything like that. So that is what I would do. That would be my dream profession. I definitely would want to be able to do my art, but I know that I can't do art like all day, every single day. That's just not humanly possible for me. But I know that if I were in the right element, in the right situation of life, that I would be able to produce amazing artwork. And I'm sure that I could right now. But like I said, I don't feel like an artist anymore. I don't feel like I want to give that to anybody. I don't know. It sounds totally crazy. But if anybody else out there is an artist, and or you have some sort of talent that you do that you have to be fully yourself in order to do, I'm sure that you can understand that. So her next question is, if you could travel anywhere, and where would it be and why? And my video is already 10:49, 50. I'm going to go ahead and pause or stop this now and then start the rest of my video. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so her next question was if I could travel anywhere, where would I go and why? And I would most definitely travel to Ireland and Europe, mainly Ireland, Wales, and England area. That's where my genetics come from. My ancestry is Irish, Welsh, and a little bit of English. And then, of course, I do have some Native American in me. It's not much. I don't even look like I have a drop of Native American in me, but I do. And my great-grandmother, there's a picture of her my grandmother has, and on my mom's side. And she, when I saw the picture of her the very first time, it's a black and white photo, of course, I looked at it and I was like, it looked like me. I mean, I was just like, oh my God, like I see myself in this person. And except she had dark hair, but our facial features were very similar. And so, you know, you can't see the Native American in me, but it's there. So anyway, I would want to travel to Europe area and Ireland and all of that to see it. I definitely wouldn't want to go to just like touristy attraction areas. Like I would really want to go, if I was going to visit that part of the world, I would want to go live there for like, you know, several months and really get a feel for what the culture was like. So that's where I'd want to go. And then I have another place that I kind of would want to go because I'd want to take my husband, and that would be to go to Japan or Hong Kong, some area around that area. My husband's very much into video games, and you know, he likes anime and all kinds of stuff. I mean, he's a broad range of creativity that he likes, but I would specifically like to take him there because I think, you know, I mean, that's where anime and all of that stuff comes from. So I just think it would be neat to go visit. I think they have Hong Kong and Japan and that whole area. I think is such an interesting culture that, I mean, who wouldn't want to go there and visit? So that's where I would go. And then my favorite baby names, and I wrote these down because each time I tried to do this video before, I got stuck on this part, and I'm like, which ones were they? So I did 5 names for each boy and girl, and the boy names that I like are, so I like Rowan, Armor, Phoenix, Orion, and Harrison. And then for girl names, I like Vivian, Astrid, Olivia, Fiona, and Phoebe. So, you know, there's a couple others out there that I really like that I didn't put on here, but these, I like all of these names. And then, okay, so my next questions come from Princess Di, and she asks me 3 questions. My most prized possession, which I'm just going to say real quick, that's my wedding ring. Josh gave it to me, you know, I will be married for 9 years in May, for 10 years in May. And so we've been together technically for 14 years already. But, I mean, it's something that's been a part of my body for 11 years. It's been on my finger for 11 years because we got engaged 2 years before we got married. So, I mean, it's the only other thing in my life that has been with me every day. So my wedding ring is my most prized possession. I never take it off. I'm horrible too. I'm the kind of person that goes outside and plants plants and digs in the ground and doesn't even take it off. I'm horrible. I'm horrible. I try to remember, but sometimes I'm just like, fuck it. If I take it off, something will happen to it. So, okay. Her next question is, have you traveled abroad? And if so, where was your favorite? And so I've traveled out of the country twice. when I was younger, between the age, I was probably like 14, and I went to Cancun with my big sister from the Big Sister Big Brother program. She took me to Cancun. She actually took me to a lot of places around America, places I never would have gone before. If I just wouldn't have had those experiences if it wasn't for her, and I'm really grateful that I had her in my life. And so again, she was part of the Big Sister Big Brother program, and basically it's like a mentoring program. And it was after my grandpa died, and then just with everything my brother and I went through as a kid, not being with our parents, my grandmother really felt it important for me to have a mentor in my life, and I'm so grateful that she thought of me in that way. But Judy took me to several places in the world, several places. But I also did go to Canada when I was younger, and this is after my grandpa died also. We went to Michigan, to Detroit. I don't know if it was like a suburb of Detroit or what, but that's where all of my grandma's family lives. And like, my grandmother was one of 18 children. She was one of 18 who came from Detroit. All of the rest of them live there still. All the cousins on that side still live there. A couple of them have moved outside of Michigan, but I know that they live in like Dearborn. My grandmother even moved back up there a couple years ago and lived for a while. So, but anyways, when I was a kid, we went up there after my grandpa passed, and we stayed there for a little while, several weeks, and we went to Canada. I want to say that we went to Alberta, but I'm not 100% sure. I just know that we went over Canada. I think we took the tunnel underneath, and my brother and I were really excited about it. But Canada was beautiful. There were flowers everywhere. It was green. It was pretty. It was beautiful from what I can remember. So I loved Mexico. I loved Canada. If I could go back to any place, I would go to Canada. If Josh and I could live anywhere, we would live in Canada. So yeah. And then third question from Miss Princess Di is 5 items on your bucket list. And so I wrote those down so I wouldn't forget. So 5 items that I wrote down here, and I have to tell you that, okay, I signed up for a 5K in February, and I signed up for the 5K before I wrote these questions. No, did I? I don't remember. I just thought it was odd that I put that on here and then I signed. Okay, I must have written the answers to this question before I signed up. So these are what I have. I'm sorry. So I would like to skydive one day. Josh will never let me. I think he thinks I would be that one person that would die. So one day I want to skydive. I want to run a marathon, and that's what I'm talking about. I wrote that on here. I want to run a marathon, and then I signed up for a 5K. So I'm not. That's really not the kind of marathon I'm talking. Like, this is going to be a fun walk, run, crawl kind of marathon. But one day I do want to run like an actual timed marathon. So I want to skydive. I want to run a marathon. I want to experience space flight one day. I don't care if I'm 98 years old and I can barely move my toes and fingers. One day I'm going to take a trip up to the upper atmosphere and come back down, or whatever. I just know that one day in our lifetime there is going to be the possibility to travel in space, or whether it's, travel to the moon or travel up to the atmosphere, and you make one rotation around the earth or something and you come back home. I don't care. I want to do it someday. Of course, I want to be a mother. That's on my bucket list. I don't know why I didn't have that one as number 1. I think I was just trying to figure out things to put on my bucket list, and I thought, oh, duh, I want to be a mom. That's what I really want to do. So I would love to be a mother. And then one day I would like to write a book. It doesn't have to be a bestseller. It doesn't even have to sell thousands of copies. But one day I would like to write, whether it be a short book, a small novel, I don't know. I just know that one day I want to publish something. I have been blogging for a long time. I used to journal when I was a kid. I've always enjoyed writing. And someday, in some form or fashion, I want to write something out there for people other than my blog. So that's that. I'm almost done, I promise. I'm going to have to pause this one again here soon in a minute. Okay, so these next 2 questions are from Project Bib. And her questions are, what type of endo pains do you feel, and how do you deal with them? And so I'm going to pause, I'm going to stop my thing here, and then I'll start back over with those questions. Okay, here we go. So, um, the type of endometriosis pain that I feel is it varies and it's different every month. For the most part, everything's the same. First off, I will start off saying that I have stage 4 endometriosis, which that means that it's pretty much everywhere in my area, everywhere. It's right now I'm on birth control, and I have to say truly and honestly, I can tell a difference that birth control is helping control some of the pain that I have normally. And I'm not the kind of person who complains a lot or likes to complain a lot. So if I am in pain, I usually don't say a whole lot about it. Like I would probably say to my husband, "Ugh, I'm cramping today," and he gets it. No more questions needed, no more things to be said. He knows I don't have to go into detail. But I get pain a lot throughout the month, even when I'm not on my period. I notice that I stay crampy the entire week. Like after I've finished my period, I kind of stay crampy. I have pain in my ovaries whenever I ovulate, especially if I'm ovulating from the left side. I mean, sometimes it'll feel like I have like a baseball sitting in my abdomen area on that one side. And so when that hurts on the left side, it makes my hips hurt. And so I just always feel like everything's very tight. And so I have ovulation pain, not every time, because when I ovulate on the right side, I don't really feel it. I mean, I get a little crampy and achy, but it's not like whenever I ovulate from the left side. And I do have a cyst on the left side. I had surgery for that almost 2 years ago. No, a year and a half ago. I had surgery on that side, and they removed part of a cyst, like a 7 centimeter cyst that was on my ovary, in my ovary. So they were not able to remove all of it. She had to leave the cyst wall. So I know now that that's what I'm feeling on that left side, is that cyst has grown back. So I get pain from that. I also, unfortunately, I'm very sensitive during sex on that left side. It's not to say that I can't have sex or that I don't enjoy it. I do. But I feel a lot of times that because I am focused so much on making sure that I don't get hurt, that I'm not able to get in that moment of, sexual bliss. Sex is great. I mean, my husband and I have good sex. We have great sex life. It's just that I hate that he knows that I am sometimes in pain, because then he worries about it and he doesn't want to hurt me. And then, I've gotten really used to having that pain there, but just kind of pushing through it and getting through it, because it's not like I'm going to die. It's just uncomfortable. So that for me is probably the most frustrating part of all of the endometriosis pain that I feel, is that it has to affect my sex life. Like, there's nothing worse than having a disease that every single time when you are intimate with your husband that you have that disease, because you feel it and it's letting you know, hey, I'm here. So that for me is really frustrating. But Josh is really great, and he's such a sweet-hearted person that he doesn't want anything to happen to me or doesn't want me to be in pain or anything like that. So he's very careful with me, and I just appreciate him for that, because this is something hard to deal with. So I also, and this is a little TMI for some people, I'm sure, so I'm sorry if you just got a load of information you didn't really want to know. But I get hemorrhoids from the endometriosis because it causes so much swelling and it causes everything to shift and move. And my cervix sits really, really low, and so it presses down against everything, the bottom pelvic wall. And so it's uncomfortable to go to the bathroom. Sometimes, not all the time, just sometimes. I can usually tell that my period is coming because of that. I also have to deal with my bladder. My bladder is very weak. If I am hanging out with a bunch of people and laughing really hard, I have to be careful, or I will piss all over myself. start off with a little tiny tinkle and then that's it. You've just pissed all over yourself. And I've done it before. It's extremely embarrassing. And I haven't like told people, or, I've run to the bathroom beforehand, but then been worried like, oh my God. So I have extremely weak bladder, and usually about 2 weeks before I have my period, I have to pee so much more. And it's not that I'm peeing more liquid. It's just that I have such sensitivity down there that my bladder makes me feel like I always have to pee. Like, sometimes I will go to the bathroom when I'm close to starting my period like 3 times in an hour just to tinkle out a little bit of urine. And that's very frustrating because I feel uncomfortable. I feel like I always have to pee, and that's just frustrating. So I actually have to talk to my doctor about that, because that's something that I've always kind of dealt with, but I never knew that it was really attributed to endometriosis until looking online. And so I've kind of been seeing that that's those two are connected. And so I'm going to talk to her when I see them in January and ask them if there's anything I can do for it. I know that I need to start exercising and doing all my healthy stuff again. Josh and I haven't been doing that, so that's really also affects endometriosis pain, is how you take care of yourself. Now, as far as dealing with the pain, I only take ibuprofen, and I usually take a lot of it, which I know is not good for my body, but I don't want to be on painkillers like hydrocodone or anything like that. I have to be a functioning person, and I personally am not going to use my disease as an excuse and try to just be messed up on pills all the time. Now, that's not a stab at anybody who is out there and taking pain medication for their endo. I know that some women, it's way more painful for them than it is for me, and I totally realize that there are some women that need to take narcotics, painkillers to handle the pain. And so I guess I'm just grateful that I'm not there, that I can take ass loads of ibuprofen and be okay. And I mean, I still feel the pain, but it does help alleviate it. So I do ibuprofen. I remember last year my doctor prescribed me like the 800 milligrams of ibuprofen. So that was really great. I could just take one of those instead of like 5 of a regular ibuprofen. And then I also use a heating pad, and I take hot baths. So, and I try to get a lot of fiber in my diet. That's really very important for endo patients. Fiber is really, really good, not only for your body, but for your digestive system. And if you do have a lot of scar tissue and adhesions and things like that, that can pull your intestines away or squish them or make them smaller. And so whenever you are moving stuff along in your body, you have a lot of pain because all of that stuff is messed up. So if you have a lot of fiber in your diet, it does make it easier to get rid of everything. So yeah, that's what I have to say about the endo pain. It really sucks. Like I said, I think most of us, Kiara, I know that you probably are the same way, but that you have learned to deal with a lot of your pain silently, without making a big deal about it. And so I know that a lot of people with endo that I talk to are like that. It's just something you've gotten used to dealing with. And that isn't to say that it makes it any more easier to deal with. It just means that you've accepted the disease, and you know there's nothing that's going to make that stop. So you just kind of have to find your peace with it, or else you're just going to be a very angry person. So anyways, sorry that was a really long explanation. My next question comes from, I think this is pronounced Shaban. Saban Idel. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say it. Please correct me. But she asks me, what products do you use on your hair? It's lovely. And I don't use anything. I'm not a big product person. As most of you can tell, I'm a pretty frugal girl. I don't spend a whole lot of money unless I absolutely have to. I'm just not that kind of person. And and that doesn't make me feel or judge anybody else who goes and spends money. It's not that at all. It's just it's just my personal opinion of how I like to do things. So I don't want anybody to feel like I am judging them or making them out to be a bad person because they want to go buy stuff. That's not what it's about. But I don't buy a lot of stuff for my hair. I just usually I buy shampoo if it's on sale. I try to go with like a more natural shampoo sometimes, but sometimes I don't. I'll get like Pantene Pro V or something. Yeah, so I don't really use a lot. I do use hairspray. I don't really put any sort of anything in my hair. So yeah, I don't do much product for my hair. Okay, I'm pausing. I keep saying pause. I'm going to stop this one and then I'm going to start another one. Because this one's at 10 minutes already. But I'm almost done. I seriously only have like 2 more people's questions. Okay, so my next questions come from Miss Amanda Rogers. And she asked 3 questions. First one is, do you ever hate being a redhead? And that is a, yes. There are some times that I don't like being a redhead because I feel like I can't wear certain colors because it clashes. When I was young, when I was a kid, I really disliked being a redhead. I always consider myself kind of an ugly duckling. I was kind of scrawny. I had crazy, wavy, stringy hair. It was red. I had freckles. I have a gap in my teeth. I used to have glasses. I got glasses when I was like 2 years old. I had a lazy eye. And my glasses were huge. They were so thick that it like magnified my eyes. So I really hated being a redhead for that factor. I just felt like I was so different. But now that I'm older, I appreciate my uniqueness. So yeah, sorry, I'm texting back my husband. He's on his way home. So next question, favorite snack. I love all things chocolate. I'm a huge chocolate person. I love dark chocolate. That's my favorite. But I also like the icy pops, you know, the little plastic, it's like a tube. Pretty simple, and it's just like flavored ice water. Josh gets those for me all the time. I can eat those things all year round. And I like Oreos. I love Oreos. Okay, my favorite alcoholic beverage is, okay, my signature drink, if I'm going out for a cocktail, I would order a vodka tonic. That is my drink, a vodka tonic, a vodka tonic with lime. That's my drink right there. So that's my favorite alcoholic beverage. Now, if I want to go fruity or something like that, I want something with pineapple in it. Okay, so my last questions come from Tink, and she's got 4 questions for me, and I'm going to try to hurry. So this is so long. Okay. So, does the upcoming IVF put pressure on you? Yes. Yes, very big amounts of pressure. I feel right now kind of in this like loop of there's really nothing I can do right now until we have our first consult in January. So, I don't know. It does put a lot of pressure on me. Josh and I have to get back into our healthy mode. We've been really bad. We've been drinking. We've been eating horribly. We have not exercised. We have not done anything to be beneficial to our bodies. So in January, we are going to jump back on the bandwagon of getting healthy. Just like we were before we did IUI. We got really healthy, and I was so proud of us. We did so well, and so yes, we're going to get back on track and do that. And so that puts a lot of pressure on me to know that we just got to get stuff done. Next question is, how will you feel about giving your daughter or granddaughter endometriosis since it is genetic? And that scares the crap out of me. I almost don't want to have a daughter because I just wouldn't want her to have to deal with the disease. But if I do have a daughter I think my thoughts on having a more natural diet with my children would be very much in place, because endometriosis is caused by autoimmune disruptors, and that's things like dioxin and just chemicals that are out there that we are ingesting into our bodies every single day. And so yeah, I would want to try to raise my daughter with a more natural health thought process in mind. And I would be extremely honest with her and explain everything to her, and I would share with her my stories and struggles and everything. I wouldn't want her to be uneducated about endometriosis, so I would be as open and honest as I possibly could. I would never want to have a daughter that would have this disease, but a lot of people do. So what is your favorite home-cooked meal and who cooks it? That would be chicken and rice. My husband makes chicken and rice, and we'll basically do the steamed rice and then bake the chicken, chop it all up, and, you know, get our sour cream and our cheese and everything and my salsa. And it's like the best comfort food that Josh and I can have together, and it's just so great. Outside of that, my best favorite home cooked meal from whenever I was younger, my grandma would make mashed potatoes, fried pork chops, and green beans, and that was one of my favorites. And she hasn't been able to make that for me in years, but I still love it. Are you religious, and will you raise your children this way? I am not religious. I was at one time. I was born a Christian. I was born into a Christian family, I guess you could say. They didn't go to church very often. My grandpa, when he was passing away before that, we did go to church quite a bit. And we actually had a person, pastor, preacher, I don't know, come to our house and you do like Bible studies and Bible lessons with us. And he was a very nice man and very open and honest about the religion. But when I started dating Josh in high school, he went to church every Sunday. And so I started going with him, and he was born a Catholic. And so I went to church with Josh all through high school. And after high school, I took the RCIA classes and actually became Catholic. So I transferred over to Catholicism. And I did like the religion. I like the religion. Religion as a whole, I respect it. I respect the people who truly benefit from it and who are using it to their advantage and have faith and are connected with God. I do not like religion for the fact of greedy bastards judging people, telling people how to live. I do not agree with it at all. I am not religious. My husband and I made the choice to stop going to church. Neither one of us are religious at all. We do not agree with, it's more that we don't agree with how religion is run. I totally respect people who have faith in a God. That's fine. I'm not judging that. I personally do not believe in a specific God. I am more of a science person than I am faith-based. Now, again, I'm not judging anybody or anyone and saying that anyone is wrong for their beliefs, but I'm just saying that my personal belief is that my own spirituality is what it is and what I've created, and I'm happy and comfortable with that, and so that makes me happy. Now, when we have children, I want my children to understand God and understand the different types of religions. I will be happy to teach them and let them learn about that and let them make their own decision on what path they would like to follow as far as religion goes. If they don't want to follow anything, that's fine. But if they do, I want them to be able to have, I want them to be able to look at each religion and go, okay, well, this is why I would want to be a part of this group of people, that kind of thing. So yes, but me personally, no, I don't, I'm not religious at all. But again, I'm not saying anything bad about people who believe in God or anything like that. I have a great respect. My mother-in-law is a die-hard Catholic, and I know that it was really hard for her at first to realize that we were not going to be following her path, but she is an amazing freaking woman who does not judge Josh and I for not following in her path, and I love her so much for that because she has such a beautiful heart, and she is religious, and she is connected to her God in such a way that I'm almost jealous that I don't have the ability to do that, but I'm so grateful for her in my life that she's able to show that to me, and that when we have children, she can, my children will learn things from her about God that, I would never be able to teach them. So that is that. And then her last question is, apart from miscarriage, what scares you the most about looking forward to pregnancy? And yes, thank you, Tink. Miscarriage is obviously my number one scary factor and stress if I do get pregnant. But moving on from that, my thing is that last year when I got pregnant, and even the years before that when I got pregnant before, I never read a whole lot of books. Now, when I did last year, I had my pregnancy book, which was like a week-to-week. My sister-in-law, Jennifer, several years ago on my second pregnancy, she gave me like 4 or 5 pregnancy books, and then I hung on to them. But then last year during the pregnancy, I started reading, I was reading a lot, but I would never let myself get past the 9 weeks. I don't know why. I just had this feeling in my head where it's like, I don't want to get my hopes up, so I'm not going to read past that. And I never made it past that. So my biggest fear is that I'm going to get pregnant. I'm going to be so unknowing of what to expect because I haven't been reading any pregnancy books. So I think my biggest fear is just definitely that I'm going to feel this sudden urge of, oh my God, I don't know what to do. because I think I kind of feel that right now. So, but yeah, I will eventually start reading them again. But like I said, it was really hard to read past the 9 weeks because I never made it past that point, and I just didn't want to get my hopes up. You know what I mean? And I don't know. That's it for my questions, everybody, for my answers. I mean, thank you all so much for your questions for me. Thank you for sticking it out all the way through this video. If you did, I'm going to have a secret code because I saw this in Lisa and Amanda's TTC Talk Time video last time, and I thought it was great. So my secret word is owl. I love owls. So if you did make it to the end of this video, just leave me a comment, some form or fashion that has the word owl in it, and I will be very appreciative. But anyways, that's it, everybody. I've got to go get ready for work. My husband's on his way home. I'm so glad that I made it through this video without hating it. So hopefully I will be able to get it uploaded this evening. And thank you all so much again for your questions.